There's something about the pipe which is timeless. The pipe, it aids contemplation. It also is great for making a point, because you can point with it. But overall, there's something about a pipe, the way you can hold it in your hand, the way you can just sort of put it down, pick it up whenever you're ready, and then just give it a good old lash. I love this. I really, really love this. This is the E618, I think it's called, the E-Pipe 618 from EZSmoke. Well, they don't make it, but they sell it. And Declan Connolly sent it down to me, or sent it up to me very kindly a while back ago. And apologies for me only getting to it now. It's a terrific thing. And so basically, yeah, it's an automatic one, so you don't push any buttons on the top or anything. All you do is just settle yourself into the armchair, get a smoking jacket on or something like that, one of those funny hats with the sort of tassel yokes or whatever, and then just think about life, the universe, and indeed perhaps everything. Let's go down and have a close look at it. So here it is close up, the E-Pipe 618 or 618 or 618. Plastic here, obviously, but looking very wooden. It's really quite good the way they've actually done this. Looking to the top there, we've got this bit here which glows, which we'll see shortly. Then center section here is our cartomizer, which is on the inside. Now this is a special cartomizer for this tank. It's not just a standard one that you can put in. And then we've got the mouthpiece. So if we take it apart, mouthpiece, first of all, it's just a piece of plastic, looks very pipe-like there, with a little hole in it. That is going on to the end of this. And for any of you who use cartomizers, you'll recognize the look of that there. So let's take this off here. And here's our center section. And basically the way this works, as I said, it's not a standard cartomizer, is that if you push this through, if you look at the end there, you'll see that there's a big disc attached to it coming out. So what that does is when you push it back in, it means it doesn't go through too far. You'll also see that there's a little hole there. And if I push this up a little bit further, you'll see there's a corresponding little nub or bit sticking up. So that when you're actually pushing that in, you need to ensure that it actually goes in over that. So that means then it'll sit completely flush with it. Now, usually the easiest way to do that is when you've actually mounted this back onto the pipe. So, as I said, it says 2.5 mils at the top there, so that's what it's saying is its total amount. And to fill it, which I'll do shortly, it's really just a simple version, a simple case of pulling this in so that it's like that, and then basically filling up at the side. And when you've pulled it in like that, you can see when you have enough room to actually get in to put liquid in there, the top of that carto is around the 2.5 mil mark. And obviously if you were to fill it above that, you'd end up getting liquid pouring down into the inside of the carto, which you don't want to do. The carto, as all cartos are, is fed by, any tank cartos anyway, is fed by a hole there. And as per usual, the inside of the carto has got an element in it that heats up, which vaporizes the liquid, and then also that filler material. So nothing strange there at all. This actual tank itself, when we take it out, it doesn't unscrew or anything, not that I can see anyway, and there's no need to. If you do need to wash it out, you just take the carto out of it and flush it through, and that's that. So nice and simple. Coming to this part here, we have the connector there, which has obviously got some airflow vents on either side there. And then we have the actual head part, and this is where the battery goes. So to actually get the battery in, and one thing which is a bit of a pain with this is when this part here unscrews to open up the battery chamber, and sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to unscrew because there's nothing really to grab onto. But that's essentially what it is. It's a bit of plastic which has got some sort of glittery stuff on the inside, and then it's threaded at the edges there. And those threads go into this recess here. And when we look into the inside of it, we can see that we have a spring at the bottom, and then just on the ledge at the side you'll see this thing here, which is a contact which actually swings in over the battery, and then you've also got a little light here which lights up, showing that you've got a contact on it. Now this is an automatic one, so that it's not, when this is on the top, you don't have to push on it to get it to fire. All you need to do is to actually basically take a pull on it, and that basically kicks the thing into action. Now we need to put in an 18350 battery into this. This is an AWIMR, this one. It goes in base in on the spring as you'd normally expect. And then what we need to do is that little, let's see if we can show it to you here, that little metallic piece needs to swing over and to touch onto this connector here, right at the top positive here, because it's only then that the connection will be complete. So to do that, the easiest way, and it is a little bit, and I'm going to have to turn this around a bit, it's a little bit fidgety, is basically hold the battery down like that, and then move this arm with the screwdriver, if I can get to it, over on top of it like that. Now you probably didn't see that, but there was basically a little flash of a red light there. That little light beside it gave a red flash. And what that means is that essentially contact has been made and it should work. So if I pull on this, that light should come on to show that it's working. And you can see that it came on there. So that's all ready to go from that side there. And as I said, this is activated by taking a pull rather than actually holding the top. So let's just put this back on, the top part here. Slide it back on like that. And that is now ready to go. So let's fill this up. Essentially what we need to do is push this in where we have the recess here and the little knob coming up here. Make sure that you put in the carto with the flanged end going in there. So, and what we want to do is just basically push it up so it's around that point there, so it's kind of lined up, if you like, with the top. You know, what you need is enough of a gap there to be able to get your liquid into the side. So if you've got a bottle which has got a bigger head on it, you're going to probably need to leave a little bit more room, but if you're doing it with a syringe, you can leave a little bit less room. But either way, you don't want to go above the top of the cartomizer there, because otherwise all the liquid will just go into the inside. So let's see if I can find some liquid and put it in here. Okay, well, as ever, I don't have it in its normal bottle. I always use one of these little bottles because it's dead handy. Cigarillos, my favourite, still my favourite. So all I need to do is basically, if you hold the carto slightly to the side, it gives you a little bit more room. So just basically pop this in here and fill it up. So I'll just pop it up to there. As I said, don't go above the top of the carto. So that should be fine there. So then all we need to do is a simple case of just pushing it on through to the top, like that. So now it's sealed. It's not going to, no liquid is going to come out. And what you want to do then is try and get this lined up with the little nub in there. So get the hole lined up so that it means that it'll fit flush. And I've done that there now. So that's sitting completely flush at the bottom, like that. Now, if you're having problems lining that up, what you can do is when you actually attach it onto the pipe, like that, the bottom of the carto is going to tighten onto this, and if this still isn't connected into the, let me just pull it back here and I'll show you. So that's not sitting flush because it's not into that little hole yet. But if you just turn it around, it'll find the hole, there it's found it, and then you can push it in. And then you get it completely flush like that. Now, just before I put the mouthpiece onto it, what I would tend to do is actually just put a bit more liquid in at the bottom there. So just like you're filling it almost like you would a normal carto. So just give it a little bit of a help, you know. Just now once, if you're refilling it, it doesn't matter, but it's just at the beginning because sometimes that filler can just take a wee while, because remember the liquid is going in through that little hole at the side, so it takes a while for it to work its way right the way up to become fully saturated. Now it's fairly bright in here at the moment, but I'm not sure if you'll actually be able to see this, but when you do draw on it, this lights up. So let's see if you can see it. Now it's looking sort of one-sided there, but you know, at night it's not that bad. You know, it does sort of glow quite nicely. So that was it, all close up. So what do I think of it? Well, let's get the price first of all. You can essentially get it two ways. You can get it as the full kit, which costs €59. And with the kit, what you're doing is you're getting one of these, two of these, you're getting two 18350 batteries as well. You're getting two cartomizers that go on the inside here. You're getting a wall charger, an instruction manual, and a gift box. So basically it all comes in one box with all that stuff in it. And for €59, you know, I think that's pretty good. You can also buy it on its own, which is how I got it. So I didn't get it with the bits and pieces. And on its own, it costs $29.95 for one of these. So that's essentially what you have here, just one of everything. And then for the cartomizers themselves, and remember the cartomizers, they're not the normal cartos, because they've got this flange at the bottom of them. They work out at $2.95 each. And does it say? It doesn't say what. Oh yeah, 2 and 2.4 ohms. So, you know, they're reasonably sort of highish. If it was me, I'd go for the 2 ohm, to be honest. 2.4 I think is a bit too high, because essentially what you're doing is, you know, you're not regulating what's coming through into it, so you can't sort of bang up the voltage or the wattage on it or whatever. So 2.4, I'd say it's going to be pretty weak coming out of it, so probably 2 would be the minimum, you know, for me anyway, or rather the maximum. But do they have anything else? There's another one there. No, I think that's it. And oh yes, it looks like you can also buy, if you go and smash this tank or whatever, you can buy you can buy the tank also with a cartomizer in it for $7.25. So again, you know, all the bits are it's easy to get hold of them. Taste-wise, to me it's pretty typical of any sort of cartomizer. It mutes the flavour, but not overly. I mean, it tastes reasonably good to me here, but I suppose I'm at a slight disadvantage because I'm tending to use this liquid in something, you know, more like a K-Fun or whatever. So that is always going to deliver more flavour than a cartomizer. But look, I think it's pretty good. And you know, for sitting at home in the evening, you know, watching the telly or reading the paper, you know, the slippers dogged down by the side and all the rest of it, I think it's really the part, you know. In fact, I almost look slightly intelligent there, like I know what I'm talking about. So from that point of view, it's a good prop. Now, the other one that I have from them is the S-Pipe, I think it is. Yeah, the S-Pipe mod. There we go. Now it's not this part here, it's just this part here. And I think it's a great little thing. This thing's been around for quite a while. And essentially what it is, what you're buying, is this part here. And that's essentially a holder for a battery, an 18350 battery. And then after that, it's whatever you want to sort of screw in there. Now, it hasn't got ego cone threading, so it has to be something with a 510 on it. Now, in this particular case, with this BDC, this Aspire BDC, I've had to put an adapter on, but I'll show you the adapter when we go in closer on it. But that's what it looks like. And it's pretty dinky. I mean, in comparison to the other one, it's way, way smaller. Hang on, how do I do this? You can see, big difference between them. And I think you can get this in a sort of a woody kind of a thing. I mean, it does almost look like that shape, you know, that Huckleberry Finn or whatever would have been using as a pipe in those days, made out of a corn cob or whatever. Was Huckleberry Finn the kid, or was he? In which case he shouldn't have been doing that at all. Can't remember. Anyway, so how do you use it? In this case, it's not an automatic pull like this one is. This one is a button on the top. That's quite nice. I have just got that recently. It's Halo Freedom Juice, I think it's called. It's really quite nice. I hated it at the beginning, but I keep going back to it, and each time I have it, I just like it a little bit more. It's sort of weird stuff. Anyway, that's it. But again, it's really nice, and with something like that, you can very easily fit it into your pocket. Everything is down to what you have here. This is just a power supply, that's all it is. It's great. So let's have a quick close-up. Let's have a quick close-up at that. So here's the basic unit. I think there's two different. I think you can kind of get a woody effect one. This one is the chrome, so it's probably brass or something underneath, and it's just got it's got chrome put on it. There's the top. There's the button. Button's actually perfectly fine on it, to be honest. And then looking on the inside, there's your 510 connector, but you can actually see that it'll only take a 510. It won't take ego cone threading. If I go to the side there slightly, you can see there's only threading on the inside, there isn't threading on the outside. You've also got here some air vents for anything that is going flush up against it. It'll be able to get its air from the little bits at the side, the little slots on the side there. And essentially what this is just a compartment for an 18350 battery. If I open the bottom here, you can see the inside. Now what happens with this, I'll show you now, is the battery needs to go in upside down, and this is a bit confusing. As you can see here, there's a spring there. It looks like it's a copper spring, and a decent sturdy spring it is as well. Normally when you see a spring, you put the flat end on. That's what you're used to. Not in this case. In this case, you're putting the nipple onto that. Because if we look to the inside of this and look at the top, you can see that little silver disc in the middle. That's actually pushed by the button here. So that moves. So if you put this in, nipple first into the top, that essentially is going to be touching into that contact point at the top, completing the circuit, and it'll just mean it'll fire until, you know, everything melts or it runs out or whatever it is that ultimately happens. So really it is a case of making sure that you put it in. It's counterintuitive really. It's that side which is going in like that. So you're putting it in upside down. The other thing is in relation to this is it's not truly mechanical. You'll probably see just on this side at the top, you'll see that there's a black thing there, and that's a wire, and essentially that is connecting through from the button at the top. So it has got a wire in it. Generally speaking, mechanical means that there's no wires whatsoever. There is a wire in this. I don't really know, or don't reckon that it has any impact on anything, to tell you the truth, unless you're putting some, you know, serious stuff through this. But anyway, it's worth knowing. The other thing is the button here. Let's just take the top off, the cowling off the button. I'm not sure if this can come out. I'm sure it can, but I'm not going to force it. Imagine the whole assembly comes out. No, I'm not going to force it. But anyway, there's the button there, and it's got Delrin or something around the side of it. So we can screw this back on. And generally speaking, the threads on this are okay. It's the same with lots of things. If you have a trouble starting them, I've been having a slight bit of trouble with the bottom part here. Now I'll just put the battery in. So remember, flat side going up to the top, nipple side coming down to the spring. But if you're having trouble with threading anything on, like, I mean, that's, you know, a bit of a pain trying to get that on there. What you do is you just turn it until you hear a click. Turn it the wrong way until you hear a click. And once you hear the click, that means that's the start of the threads. There's the click, and then you can just turn it forward. Because with all the different mods that are out there, really some of them have incredibly fine threads, and you have to be desperately careful with them just to make sure that you don't actually go and knacker them so that you can't get anything on. So there it is. That's all sort of ready to go. There's no indicators on it whatsoever. Oh yeah, we've got a little hole there for if your battery vents at the bottom. So let's put a couple of things on. Here's one. It's got not much juice in it, vanilla juice. So silver one, and works absolutely perfectly. The one thing with this is all this is a power source. So, you know, whatever flavour, whatever you're going to get out of this is coming out of whatever you've attached it onto. So don't think that this is really going to make any difference. As long as it delivers the power efficiently, which it seems to, then ultimately it's just going to be down to what you have there. So in this case, as I said, we have a 510 connector there, and we have a 510 socket, if you like, for it to go into. But if we have something like this, for instance, this is another Aspire, and this needs ego cone threading. So if I try and put that in there, I could be screwing it forever and it'll get nowhere. There's nothing for it to grip onto. There's no corresponding threads on the inside to slot into the threads that are in there. So just is not going to work. So for that, what you need is a 510 to ego cone threading adapter, such as this one here. Now these only cost €1 or so. They're really inexpensive. And then all you do is basically screw that into the bottom like that. Make sure you've got a good contact. So that then turns that into having a 510. And then you screw that into there. Now with this particular one, it ends up leaving a bit of a gap, so it's not exactly the, you know, the slickest looking one, but it'll work fine. And indeed it does. So I haven't got that many things here to try this on, but you can put Cartos in. Yeah, just do it for the hell of it. Let's see if I can find a Carto that's got something in it, just to make it look really, really brutal, because it will. There's just a Carto. Kind of looks a bit weird. That's virtually empty, that Carto. But anyway, look, the point of this is really you can get pretty much whatever you want into these things. And I think they don't cost much, and I think they're terrific. But one thing to note, and that is that these things do not stand up on their own. So, and even that's almost unusual that it'll actually do that, because generally speaking you just have to leave it lying on its side, unless you've got something, you know, where you've got some sort of a pipe stand or whatever that you can actually put it in. But to be honest, there's no reason for it to stand upright because the liquid is actually being contained within this anyhow. All that is a battery. So there you go, the S-Pipe mod. I love it, and it is $19.95. And I think one of the good things about it is the fact that you can put whatever you want on here, you know, whereas on the other one, you know, you are stuck with this. Now, there's nothing wrong with this necessarily, but I think with this, it just means that, you know, because you can put different ones on, you can put different juices in, you can have a little bit of variety. So of the two of them, which would I prefer, or which one do I think is better? And I've been thinking about this, and it's kind of hard to say really, because they're both so different. I love this for what it is, and for, you know, the oldie worldy aspect of it, and, you know, the kind of the contemplative ergonomics of it, which it is. There's just something really nice about it, whereas this thing is pretty heavy. But if I was to choose from the two of them, which luckily I don't because I've got the two of them, I would probably choose this one just because of the versatility. But at the same time, I do desperately like this one as well. So anyway, I'd just like to say, I think they're both good. Flavour-wise on this, because it's a Carto, you know, isn't as good perhaps as this because it's got an Aspire in it. But it's still pretty good, now I must say. I'm going to stop talking because I'll just keep sort of making comparisons between the two of them. But all I can say really is, Declan Connolly from EZSmoke, thank you so much for sending these to me. Apologies for not reviewing them for quite a period of time. Yeah, all you need to do is go to EZSmoke, so EZSmoke.ie, and he's got them on his website. EZSmoke's got loads and loads of stuff on it. It's, you know, certainly one of the better sellers out there, and these are there, and then all the spare bits and everything like that. So that's it. Thanks again for watching, and yeah, I hope to see you soon, and yeah, with a bit of luck I'll have another video out next week. That's what I'm planning for anyway. Cheers, bye.